Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdy, the show where we take various events and story arcs from current comics and we cover them. I'm your host, Obi-Wan Jabroni. Now, today's story, we are going to be covering Avengers number 46 through 49, World War She-Hulk. Written by J.N.N, with art by Javier Garron, and colors by David Curiel. During the recent battle to determine the Phoenix Force's new host, She-Hulk and Namor battled in Moscow's Red Square. Neither ultimately won the tournament, the winner being Echo. But the Russian Red Room has plans for revenge on She-Hulk and Namor. So, with that, let's start talking nerdy. First up, we have Avengers number 46, Part 1, The Taking and Breaking of Jennifer Walters. Now, we open at Avengers Mansion. Oh, not Mansion, sorry, Avengers Mountain. Gorilla Man swings through a hall and enters the teleportation room. He approaches a computer and uploads a virus into the mountain's systeming. Then he opens the teleporter, and Russia's Winter Guard steps through. Elsewhere in the base, She-Hulk and Captain Marvel are in the training room blowing off some steam, when Dark Star and Crimson Dynamo burst into the room and they attack, yelling, "She-Hulk, you are under arrest." Dark Star wraps Captain Marvel up in her void powers as Crimson Dynamo grabs She-Hulk and activates his Hulkbuster protocols on his armor. Part of his suit comes off and wraps around She-Hulk and locks her in place before boosting off, followed by Dark Star and Dynamo. Elsewhere in the medbay, Black Panther and Captain America are running various tests on Echo and Starbrand, when Starbrand jumps up saying that she senses the Dark Force and flies off down the hall. In a nearby room, Iron Man is working on a panel on the mountain when Gorilla Man sneaks up behind him and knocks him unconscious. Now, back with She-Hulk. She fights and strains and finally breaks out of Dynamo's suit and starts attacking the Winter Guard. Red Widow ineffectively tries to use Sonics to slow down She-Hulk, but it slows her down enough for Volstagg to send his liquid metal body into her nose and mouth and cause her to go unconscious. They pick her up and carry her to the teleportation room to meet Gorilla Man. Gorilla Man fires up the teleporter and Red Widow turns and stabs Ursa Major in the chest and says, "Let's go and leave the traitor behind," pointing to Ursa. Gorilla Man says this wasn't the deal. He was supposed to die, not Ursa. Red Widow laughs and says that deal was with Dracula, not Russia, and turns and leaves her her with I'm so sorry. Turns and leaves with her team and She-Hulk. Now we switch to later on in Russia's Red Room. She-Hulk is chained up and yelling when Red Widow's voice comes over the comm saying, "Where are you? Why are you here?" "Because of you. Because of your crimes. Why are you here?" "Chains. You forged those chains yourself. We gave you your day in Russian court, and you showed us again who you are. Why are you here?" "Because of Hulk." "Good. Where are you?" "Want out." The room Jennifer Walters will die in. "You are in the Red Room." "Who are you?" "Kill you all." "You are my monster now. Why are you here?" And that ends our first issue. Taking us to Avengers number 47, Part 2, The Winter Hulk. We open in the Siberian tundra. Iron Man and Captain America charge the Winter Guard base and easily take out the outer guards. Iron Man approaches the door and hacks it open with his suit. Cap says he knows what Russia's brainwashing can do to someone, and they've had She-Hulk for weeks now. Anxious doesn't begin to cover this situation. Iron Man says, "Don't worry, Cap. We will save her," and they both enter the base. Elsewhere in the compound, Red Hulk is wired up in a room with Red Widow talking to her over the comms still. And Widow keeps taunting She-Hulk, asking who she is, shocking her every time she answers anything but Hulk. She-Hulk snaps and jumps through the wall and into a room full of ballerinas, and Red Widow says, correct, Hulk's smash. Buildings and tanks and bones and flesh. Whole people into sticky red puddles. And what do you feel like smashing right now, Hulk? You! You want to kill me? Good. But which one am I? Don't you see? We're all widows here. And Omega Reds. And Winter Soldiers. All super killers. Just like you, Hulk. Just like you, Hulk. Just like you, Hulk. And the ballerinas overwhelm her, and she falls to her knees and stops. Widow and Volstagg come from the shadows, and Widow asks why she stopped. And Volstagg looks at her and says, the radiation levels inside her brain alone would render this countryside uninhabitable for 2,000 years if fully released. She shows remarkable self-control by keeping her gamma powers contained. Perhaps She-Hulk isn't as simple-minded and savage as she would like the world to believe. Her mental defenses are impressive, but I am melting them, I assure you. Her mind will soon be ours. And we switch to back with Cap and Iron Man elsewhere in the base. They continue down a hall and are ambushed by Red Guardian and Crimson Dynamo. As as the fight then what? As they fight them, sorry, Cap calls Captain Marvel and tells her they have been made. Captain Marvel bursts through the ceiling and starts flying through all the walls looking for She-Hulk. She bursts through a wall and sees Red Widow, Volstagg, and She-Hulk. Red Widow tells Volstagg to hurry and lunges at Marvel and unloads her pistol on her. All the bullets hit and explode into electricity and nanites that take down Miss Marvel. Sorry, Captain Marvel. Behind them, a green blast comes from the smoke and fries Volstagg to nothing. She-Hulk yells and bursts through a wall and knocks Crimson Dynamo out and turning to grab Red Guardian's head, and she starts to squeeze it. Cap yells out her name and she screams and drops Guardian, turning and running out into the snow. And we go to elsewhere in the woods. We see a one-armed widow stumbling as she calls her boss, saying, it's done, or as done as I could make it, Your Excellency. Though it was not without its price, the Winter Guard is lost. I will have to make it to the drop point alone on foot. In addition to the payload, I will need our agents to leave an arm for me. No, sir, an actual arm. I had to sever mine to escape. Indeed, sir, a small price to pay, I agree. Yes, sir, the assets have been successfully deployed, and I will proceed as instructed. The target will die of this, I have no doubt. Yes, sir. She is ours now. Our own Winter Hulk. And the scene changes, and we see She-Hulk with now red skin walking through the snow, crackling with gamma radiation. And that ends this issue. Leading us to Avengers number 48, Part 3, Power in Blood. Now, we open in a bar in Babylonia, and Gorilla Man is drunk and sitting at the bar, ranting to everyone and saying, I think it was just that I had seen that look too many times. I bet you know the look I mean. The one a man gets in his eye when he sees how much his own blood is outside the confines of his body, and he realizes there ain't no coming back for what's been done to him. When a man realizes he's about to die, especially the kind of man who's used to giving that end of that realization, the boy buried deep inside him shudders back to life just behind his eyes. For one heart-wrenching moment, all full of a child's fear and confusion, and a regret so profound and pitiful you won't even sleep the same after seeing it once. I'd seen it 8 times before I went searching for the Gorilla Man. Gorilla Man didn't have to worry about any of that mess because he could never die by nature. That much of the legend was true. Legend said you wanted his power, you had to take it. So I did. You know what I saw in his eyes? That grizzled old gorilla who walked like a man when he was realized I was killing him? Joy. I understand that now. People used to come from all over the world to try to murder me. I always gave them the chance to walk away, told them I was doing them a favor. Not a damn one of them ever believed me. So instead, they died with a big bloody gorilla staring them in the face. I think you should find another bar to drink at, pal, for your own good. Are you even listening to me? People don't hunt me anymore. The world's forgotten the gorilla man. But I heard that this was the place to come when you want somebody killed. A bar filled with the kind of human garbage who'd gut their own grannies and grin. If it meant surviving another day in their worthless, murderous lives. So do I hear right? Anybody feel like living forever? He slams the barkeep's head into the bar and everyone in the room moves in on him. But before they can get to him, the Winter Hawk bursts through the wall and grabs Gorilla Man. One of the patrons yells, "Hey, the Monkey Man's ours." And Winter Hawk yells and lets out a gamma blast. Everyone in the bar is fried to a crisp, and she carries Gorilla Man out and pins him to the wall outside. Gorilla Man tries to reason with her, saying, "How can you expect to live the way we live and go through life like a walking flamethrower? A life that one long bat-on-death march through the cosmic absurdity, becoming some version of a person you find even more unrecognizable in the mirror every day, without winding up utterly despising yourself. Pretty sure only Captain America has that power. I know I don't, and I'm guessing you don't either, Jenny. We used to try and hide it with yucks and gagolfs, but I've always found it the ones who laugh the loudest who are hurting the most. You have every right to kill me. I'd kill me every which way if I was you. I betrayed you to the Winter Guard, betrayed T'Challa and the Avengers. I beat the hell out of Iron Man and can't stop smiling about it. But you don't want to kill me. You're a Hulk. You're cursed enough as it is. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Sometimes you find yourself in a hole so deep and so godforsaken you figure there's no way out. That's where I live, Jeannie. You you leave me there and walk away. Jeannie, are you in there? Rrr. Yeah, I see 'em. Bite marks, and I know what they mean. While you were a prisoner in the Red Room, the Russians had Dracula's people feed on you to help drain you, break you down so they could build you back the way they wanted. In return, Drac got to keep the blood. Jennifer, listen to me. Whatever you think you're planning, whatever you want my help with, just know that it's what the Russians want you to do. It's what the Red Widow implanted in your mind. Go home. Go back to the Avengers and let them. and let them. She interrupts him by pulling him off the wall and jumping off into the night, still carrying him with her. And we switch to later that day at Chernobyl. Blade walks through a scene of fire and carnage, and we learn that Winter Hulk went on a rampage in the new vampire nation. He calls Black Panther to give him a rundown, and we learn that the virus Gorilla Man uploaded into Avengers Mountain is vampire by nature. So the Winter Guard must be working with the vamps. And we switch to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Gorilla Man and Winter Hulk are in a rowboat, and they make it to the Atlantean zone. And Gorilla Man tries to reason with Hulk again, saying, "Jeannie, as someone who's long made a living being the wrong place at the wrong time, listen to me when I tell you, this is the last place on Earth you really want to be. Have you ever seen these Atlanteans take down a freighter or cruise ship that's dumb enough to sail above their city? It's like a piranha feeding frenzy on steroids. They can strip a whole tanker in minutes, leaving nothing but a lifeboat if you're lucky. They know we're here. They're probably circling below the boat right now, waiting to scuttle us. Whatever you're thinking, it won't work. There's an army of them down there, an army of super strong, sea-breathing barbarians. You didn't bring me along just for my intel and my rowing skills. You brought me so I could echo the voice of Jennifer Walters that's inside your head, arguing her case like a lawyer. She's telling you not to trust your own rage. She-Hulk This is exactly what Red Widow programmed you for. It's what the Russians want. It's what the whole surface world wants. They're counting on you to go down there, fists flying, and... Genie? Row away, Ken. Just row to the nearest bar. Winterguard ignores him and dives into the water, leaving Gorilla Man alone and concerned. Moments later, a group of Atlantean soldiers burst from the water and attack him. He fends them off and looks around at the water as it turns red with Atlantean blood and bodies start to float up to the surface. He sighs and grabs some nearby scuba gear from some wreckage and dives in after Winterhawk. Nearby, we see Red Widow leading a diver team down to Atlantis from behind, and she's on comms with her boss saying, "Yes, sir, the asset is on site, locked and loaded." She is. I've never had cause in my life to use this particular word, but if you'll allow me, sir, she is beautiful, and her target is in range. No, she has no idea of her true role here. Or if she does, she is too driven by rage for it to matter. The Winter Hawk will assassinate the King of Atlantis, while the Red Widow carries out the true mission, and rids the world of the entire Atlantean race once and for all. Yes, sir. We're approaching Atlantis now and moving the warhead into place. Of course, Your Excellency. Excellency. If for any unserved obstacle should arise, there is also the failsafe. No, sir, we will not hesitate, and I can assure you in the name of the motherland, there will be no loose ends. And that ends this issue. Taking us to our final issue, Avengers number 49. Part 4, The Bomb Beneath the Waves. And we open at the Atlantean Coliseum, and Namor's power is being challenged by his people. And he says, "Wars require fortitude in the face of chaos. Every soul on the seafloor enjoys the luxury of existing because of the wars I've won. Glory lies ahead of us, this I promise you. But only if we stand together and trust in the power of Atlantis. And who will rule then, eh? Which one of you will spend 7 lifetimes swimming through seas of blood and all of eternity in the lake of fire? That is what it takes to be king. That is Namor. Who in the name of the gore-bearded Kraken are any of you?" And they're interrupted by the Winter Hawk crashing down on top of them. She charges and starts to slaughter every Atlantean she sees. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Red Widow and her team arrive at the back of Atlantis with the Gamma Bomb. When Gorilla Man shows up shooting her soldiers with an Atlantean gun, Red Widow turns and starts to beat Gorilla Man with ease. She gets a solid crack across his face that knocks him out, and she throws him off to the side and recovers the bomb. Back at the Coliseum, Winter Hawk makes it to Namor and fights off his soldiers till it's just the two of them. He charges at her, and she dodges and grabs his head and starts to slam him into the ground, and slams him to the ground and starts to bash him. When she suddenly stops and looks around confused for a moment, she looks down at Namor and says, "Evacuate your people," and swims away, yelling, "Avengers, assemble." She charges towards Widow and her bomb. She plows through the remaining soldiers with ease, but Red Widow turns and drives her staff into Winterhawk's eye. Winterhawk yells and grabs the staff and snaps it off before clocking Red Widow with full power. She recovers and remotely activates the bomb and injects herself with a vial that was on her arm. She starts to Hawk out herself, and we learn that the vial had She-Hulk's blood in it. They charge each other and start to pound each other, sending shock waves out into with every impact. Winterhawk gets the advantage and smashes Widow to the ground over and over until she is all bloody and not moving anymore. She drops her and quickly swims towards the bomb, ending this issue. I hope you enjoyed the video this week, and don't worry, we will continue the World War She-Hulk story arc in 2 weeks with the monster-sized 750th issue of Avengers, Avengers number 50. So, until then, next week we will have a double story as we cover Onslaught Revelations one shot and the Hellions finale numbers 17 through 18. Thanks for watching. As always, remember to like, share, and subscribe to help spread this brand across the world. Also, leave a comment down below. Feedback is always welcome. You can find us on Facebook at the Jabroni Nerd Network as well. So, until next week, guys, keep talking nerdy.